Hello and welcome, my name's AC Breezy, and today we're going to dive into Hogwarts Legacy and on these important topics. What house should we choose? Do we pick our wand? Is there fast travel? And is there a pro and con to what house we end up in? Let's find out now! When we look at the houses of Hogwarts, we see Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, and Slytherin. Is there a certain advantage to choosing one of these houses over the other, or are we just choosing our favorite? So let's talk about that today. What are the pros and cons to choosing one house over the other? Well, starting off, there's the common room. You could be choosing which common room you want and their location, if you know where they're at, and you could also be choosing about where you think would be the best home base of operation. Because we know you have the room of requirement as a home base with all your menageries and everything based on the state of plays where we learn that. That's usually based on the 7th floor according to the books and the movie, but this is Hogwarts that we're talking about. It could end up anywhere. One thing that can't end up anywhere is the common room. Hogwarts common rooms are normally in a set location. For example, this is the first time we're getting to look at the Hufflepuff explained in any iteration of Harry Potter. But if you look at the Gryffindor common room in the state of play, it looks a lot different from the Gryffindor common room that we are used to from the movies and the video games that came before it. So, is the Gryffindor common room in a different location, or is it still in Gryffindor Tower on the 7th floor? Back to the pros and cons of choosing the houses. So with the common room set aside, what do we think would be the pros and cons? For example, if you're a Hufflepuff, are you better at herbology? If you're a Slytherin, are you better at potions? If you are a Gryffindor, can you do better on broom flying or dueling? If you're a Ravenclaw, do you have better intellectual skill points? Do you learn certain spells for being in a certain house? These are all questions we should be asking, and if this is the case, we might have to rethink what house we choose when we do our playthrough. If this is the case, this will also affect the playthrough and the replayability of the game. In my opinion, if there was attributes to each house, it will make the replayability much more fun to do. That could also spark more challenges of, I completed the game as a Hufflepuff, or I completed the game as a Slytherin, if there was different cons to each house. When we were all younger, we were all excited to get to go to Diagon Alley and choose our first wand. But in this instance, the new character in the Hogwarts Legacy is getting their wand as a 5th year? Many people say this is not confirmed, but if you go to the Steam store and you pull up the Hogwarts Legacy page, one of the pictures on there is you standing in Ollivander's getting a wand out, and he has an open wand case in the background. So that can only mean one thing, and that's we are getting our own wand at some point in this game. Me, however, I believe it's going to be early on. We know the character is starting as a 5th year at Hogwarts. That alone is weird in itself. The reason to why he's starting as a 5th year at Hogwarts is still unknown. All we know is that he survived something abnormal and amazing, and he's already a celebrity much like Harry Potter was. But the question is, before he went to Hogwarts, was he at a different magical school? Or was he muggle raised and knew nothing about magic? Or was he a squib at first? We don't really know, but if I had to guess, I would guess he was raised by muggles, and that's why he's getting his wand so late. Because if he went to another magical school, unless he broke his wand, there would be no need for another wand. He could just use the same wand he had. And one of the things that everyone has their own opinion about on this game is the wand. Should we get to choose our own wand, or should we let the wand choose us? Because in Harry Potter lore and the books and everything, we all know
the wand chooses the wizard, Mr. Potter.
But we are talking about a video game here. If we want a cool looking wand like Lucius Malfoy's or something like that, or we want something specific, it's a video game. We should be able to customize the wand and then have it as if it was presented to us, as if the wand chose a wizard. Or if you want to get more practical into it, you should be able to randomize it. That way it is like the wand chose a wizard. But either way, I believe the devs are going to try to uphold the lore. They've already mentioned that in several interviews. They want to keep it, the continuity, nice and clean, but they also want to appease the players. So I feel like that's the route they're going to go. I believe they're going to let you customize your wand, have it presented to you as if the wand chose you, or give you the option to have one presented to you randomly. One of the best ways for wizards to travel around in the wizarding world is by flue powder.
Diagon Alley!
It's quick, it's easy, as long as you pronounce it correctly.
Diagonally. What did he say, dear?
Diagonally.
I thought he did.
But will flue powder be in Hogwarts Legacy? So throughout the state of play, you notice these green flames in the background. And then as you get closer, we get a scene where we actually see a face on the statue. Well, when we zoom into it, you see Wildsmith. Well, who's Wildsmith, you may be asking? Ignatia Wildsmith was the creator of flue powder. She created flue powder in the 13th century. So at this point in time, flue powder is invented. But what does that mean? Why would we care if flue powder is in the game? Well, that could be simple. The flue powder can be used as a fast travel point, because if you notice in a couple of the scenes, still statues, they're not lit. If you find the location, they become lit and you can fast travel to that location rather than have to fly your broom or your hippogriff all the way to that location. You can just toss out some flue powder and bang, you're there. That way you're not getting irritated with all the moving around on the big map, because some people would rather just get there as quick as they can. Not everyone wants to explore. I, for one, am going to do both. It's going to be fun to see how it goes. I'm excited to see this in there because it is a big part of the wizarding world. We are all wondering what would it be like to be able to do that. I think it's kind of a cool little thing if they do add it like this. Now, I, for one, am very excited for Hogwarts Legacy. I think it's going to be the best game that gets released in the past couple of years. I have been severely disappointed with a bunch of games recently. I'm hoping that that is not the case with this one. So if you guys are excited for this new game, make sure to drop a like and subscribe and keep up, because I'm going to be making more videos on what I think we will expect in this game and keep you guys updated with all the new news over the game. Thank you guys, and have a good one.